So what's good, Brody?
Man, everything's good. So,
Wait. First off, before we start, my daughter's about to leave. I wanted to bring come here, come on, come here, baby. So I just wanted to say this. For the New Year's, my dreams have come true. I got to spend it with my family, and at the end of the day, today was like the Super Bowl for me because Ava was able to come and start her first day of work for the family business.
wow.
And she has options. She has her mother's company and she has my company, and it's all under one umbrella.
That is such a blessing. That's
She
beautiful.
did a semester of college, you know, and she decided she wants to go and start working for the family business, and I was able to provide that.
Right.
And I know how hard I fought for that, and I know how good it felt. So, you want to ask Ava a question?
Yes. Ava, first I have to commend you and say it's a big deal for you to make a big decision like that and go into the family business and do what you feel in your heart is best for you. A lot of people stick with something and it's not for them. So at this point, they get caught up in pleasing other people and society and all this different stuff. But you know, not that school is not good or important, but
we have a business. School is life. We got a business.
Yeah, it's like there's no better experience than actually doing things.
But the fact that I was able to do what I've seen other cultures do, but on our terms.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, the question for?
Yeah, so the question is, are you going into modeling or do you want to design? What do you want to do at this point?
At this point, I'm gonna do a little of both.
Nice.
So
Good.
So she has a big contract with Elite. She signed with
Congratulations.
Yes.
but she also has a company that she could model for, so she could model for other people as an option.
Right.
But if she doesn't like it, she has her own business.
Options. That's what it's about. Do you hear that? Create those options. You gotta have options.
But also Tallulah, I was able to have Tallulah for the last 5 days, which is something I fought for, but she was able to come to work with me as well.
Okay.
So she was able to creative direct and of the bottles for shampoos for her mother's line, right?
Yes.
And she was able to pick. Come on. And then she was able to pick the packaging for her shampoo.
Right.
So you know, she's learning things on her own terms in an environment that, you know, it's a bubble that I fought hard for, and it was just realizing everything I fought for. You know
It's
what I
worth
mean?
it.
And it's worth it. And I'm just saying that for anybody.
You told me that from the gate, so you know I know. You told me
for anybody that's questioning, is it worth it? Yes.
Yes.
It's worth the fight.
Look at it. It's worth
the fight.
It's worth the fight.
There's no money in the world that can explain this feeling of love and the wealth that comes with that feeling. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy. I'm like, this is bittersweet because I've had her for the last, you know, almost a week, and she's about to go home. And, you know, I hate every time they leave, but I love you so much. I'm so proud of you.
Absolutely.
I'm so proud of you.
Absolutely.
Daddy loves you. Where's your sneakers? Where's your shoes? I know. He's messing up your slippers.
Wow.
Astro.
It's crazy.
Stop it.
Astro, stop it.
Stop it.
But it's crazy how hard I fought. It's crazy. Stop it. Stop it. It's,
Astro.
but that's the worst of my problems is the purple puppy is biting her slippers.
Yo,
You know what I'm saying?
that's the problem, and that's the only problem.
That's the only problem I'm having right now. So I fought hard for those problems.
Right.
So, you know, like I said, they're going home. I'm happy, but it's bittersweet. But again, this is the Super Bowl.
This is what it's all about.
And there's no feeling in the world that could describe it, and there's no money, there's no cost that's affiliated with this. It's priceless.
And being cool at the same time. I see you got your feeler game up too.
Well, yeah, I'm feeling very 80s today.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, because you know back in the day when you wore these, this meant something. This meant something. If you had felines on back in the day, you had the
These
felines
particular
too.
ones, you would get money.
Yeah.
But you know, again, we can still be swagged out parents.
And you rocking them how cats was rocking back in the day.
Well, that's how I actually rock
wait a
them.
minute.
Yeah, that's how I used to rock them.
Yeah.
I had these. I was hitting the concrete with these, and that's something they'll never have to do. But I looked good while I was doing it. But I know what I fought for, and I would do it again. Because whatever I did to get me to this point must have been right. Because this feels right. Anyway, I love y'all.
Love you too.
That's what's
I
up.
love you. Tomorrow we have work. We're gonna go
I see
to.
you, Ava.
I'm gonna call you and say about
you
tomorrow.
guys.
Great job. First day of work. A lot of designing. I'm so proud of you.
Congratulations.
I'm so proud of her.
Absolutely. That's beautiful.
Bye, Daddy. Love
See
you.
I
you.
love you, baby. I love you. Drive safe. All right, bro. Take care of that.
Peace, man. Take care,
I'm
brother.
gonna call you about tomorrow. We might do a little work. Love you.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
That right there is the real fight. That's the real fight.
well, that's the real wealth.
Yeah, that's the real wealth. That's worth fighting.
It definitely is worth fighting for. And what I want people to know is, like, for any man, if you're challenged and someone's telling you how to act as it relates to your children, it fucks with your ego.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you're being accused of doing something, it makes sense sometimes to have a judge or someone even observe what you're doing, because then no one can ever accuse you of doing it again once you prove them wrong.
Absolutely.
So, you know, you remember when I was going through it, I was like, I'm all right with this because I'm gonna do what's asked. And it's not that really hard, other than my ego, for someone else to tell me how I gotta raise my kids. But if that's what I gotta do, I'll do it. And because of that, I'm able to raise my kids unobstructed. And it's made it where life has been a lot easier for everyone in the family. Like, emotions run high when, you know, there's a transition of any kind. You know, whether it's your transition that you want or it's the girl, the other half. But either way, hey yo, I'm taping! Alex!
Dang.
Yes.
Your brother brought me in a club.
So I was bringing it to his attention and he stopped. That's why. Love you. And Baba Lob was original best out, and he, you know, he transitioned, he got killed, got taken years ago. But you know, at the end of the day, my brotherhood means more to me than anything, and I respect that. I don't give a fuck about anything else that's going on. You know, the DNA of me is the DNA of we. Everything I am came from my ideals, the fun I had, and the experiences I had in that moment when we were and still are the best out.
Yeah.
And no matter what goes on outside of that, when we see each other, it's always the same. There's always a mutual respect. And, you know, even seeing any one of us transition and 10, 20 years later, it's always gonna hurt.
Right. Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, we've always respected our brotherhood, and anything other than that, to me, is just, it's not all right. And I've seen that happen, but, you know, but at the end of the day, celebrating his life is always good, and his family, and his kids, his sons, the way his wife has held them down and done well by him. But, you know, big shout out and happy birthday to Baba Lob. He's a legend.
Peace, yeah.
And the thing is, like, he's in Paid in Full with me.
Yeah.
So basically, our life was a movie, is a movie, will always be a movie. It's been documented, our history is authentic, and I'll never, ever, never, ever not acknowledge where I'm from or the DNA of the people that protected me and gave me all the swag sauce, pause, that I've been distributing for decades.
Absolutely.
It's all because of Harlem.
And that's Big's older brother, right?
Yeah.
His oldest brother.
It's Big's oldest brother. It was originally, you know, I knew Big's brother, Baba Lob, and Big was like his little brother, you know. But, you know, as things evolved and you know, it turned into what became Rockefeller. But originally it was like, original best out was like Bob and Rel, Claudie B, Kurt.
Claudie B.
You know, Hound, Chad, Kazzy, even like Jersey Bob, and those are good days.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, a lot of what people are portraying and what they talk about was a lot of what we were doing at a time when people were scared to do it.
It was authentic experience.
Yeah, we didn't know anything else, you know. But big shout out to Baba Lob and his family and his son. I think Bob has a baby, you know, and his wife.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy because it's like looking at you with your daughters. I have daughters, and you know, with all the recent stuff that's going on, and I know it's a touchy subject for you because you were with Aaliyah at the time of her passing, and the stuff that's going on with R.Kelly, which to me is disgusting because everybody ain't lying, and what's done in the dark always comes to light. And the problem I really have with that, more than just R.Kelly, is the people that were complicit enablers, allowing this stuff to go on and seeing this stuff going on and didn't do anything about it. What are your feelings about that situation, and what really is the big thing? I mean, because I know he did an album with Jay, and
Okay, let me get something to smoke on.
And the mic, it's all everything.
Well, can I say a couple things?
Yeah.
Claude wants to let you know that he had all the girls.
Yikes.
And and that
You just stop this thing for that nonsense. You all know what that's about.
and then
Claudie B. So yeah, all the girls. That's real. Is that real though? Is that real though? Don't lie. Is that like?
Stop it.
Listen, no.
What did they say?
Is that real though?
It's not Harlem.
It isn't. It's Brooklyn, but you had to know how to do this.
Oh, okay. That's what your brother
It was more Brooklyn, but you have to. A Harlem nigga that knows how to do this was a black belt. But from what you're saying, You know, I watched some of it yesterday as much as I could tolerate. And I'm not gonna lie, as a human, I was tight. And I was tight about a couple of things.
Yeah.
Number one, there was a girl, and when she was even trying to talk about it, she couldn't.
Yeah.
And I remember Leah trying to talk about it, and she couldn't. You know, she just would leave it at that dude was a bad man. And I didn't really want to know what he did, to the extent that I might feel the need, you know,
To approach
to just deal with it, just because that's what a man does. But it just was so much hurt for her to revisit it. It was like I wouldn't even want to revisit it without a professional. Whatever got done was terrible. And then what bothered me was, it was like, you know, I watched John Legend like be fearless about his opinion of it, regardless to politically how it may seem.
Right.
But I've been tight about this shit for years. So to be honest, like, if you remember The Best of Both Worlds, you don't see my name on that. You know what I mean? And
Your name is not on either album.
hell no, I never wanted no parts of that. So when Holmes was doing that shit, I was like, bro, you know our homie violated, and he violated my girl. He violated a friend of yours. So, you know, when he moved forward with that, like me, I was like, yo, Dusko! I was like, yo, I don't want no parts of that. Put my part of that to Aaliyah's breast cancer thing, you know? But then it was around the time when Jay was acting like he didn't want to really continue and move forward with all of us as partners because he didn't want Biggs down, because he wasn't doing nothing. And I was like, yo, bro, I can't move forward without Biggs. You know, we can start something new, but like Rockefeller, you know, that's us. We can start Dynasty Records, but we gotta maintain Rockefeller. And our OG squashed it from St. Kitts, Deuce. And one of the settlement was, all right, well, dog, you know, you just keep all that then. Fuck it, because I wasn't gonna have none of that anyway.
Word.
But what happened was, as soon as it came out, you know, the tapes came out. So karmically, it couldn't breathe. It already destroyed. But then years later, they tried to do the tour.
The best of both.
Yeah, but it still didn't work out. But you notice I wasn't a part of any of that, and the karma happens. But the thing I didn't understand is I was like, I know I'm not fucking with that. And because of the moral challenge and him choosing one way, I knew morally we weren't the same.
Right.
So to me, Rockefeller was defunct. It was over.
Word.
I couldn't fuck with it. It was something that to me was just like, not to say unforgivable, but I couldn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And then I didn't understand how people didn't, I thought, well, then the people aren't gonna have that. But nobody said nothing.
Standing by, watching it, and just not.
But just
saying
nobody
anything.
said nothing, but it's unconscious, because even, I remember, you know, again, we spoke about this. One time I remember you was at a concert and shit and you posted a picture and I called you. I was like, yo, bro, you know you got daughters.
Right.
And you know what that man did, and I know what he did just based on what I was told.
Word.
And you immediately was like, yo, you right. And what happened from there?
I ain't cut him since.
But the thing is, you weren't, you know, again, the
But
same
it was,
way,
yeah.
like, because my version.
Unconscious of it, like not really thinking.
Well, my
about
version of that is like, no matter what I heard about Michael Jackson, I still listen to Michael Jackson. So I understand it, but I can't support it. I can't go to it and it just.
Yeah, you can't condone and support no molestation and no.
But at the end of the day, my question is, why does it take people so long? Why is it only because there's a documentary and now it's popular, now people stepping up? This shit been going on for years and people been looking the other way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know personally what happened, and people I respected looked the other way. You understand what I'm saying? Which to the extent I didn't have as much respect for him moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Because again, the moral fabric was compromised. Like, damn, that was my girl. Yeah, that was shit, you liked her. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, we liked her as a friend. We know what that man did. Money before principle. Is that intentional, or is there something in the air? Like, what is it? But again, I had tried to put a lot of that behind me because I know the anger of addressing it, what it does, it becomes a distraction. But, you know, it's been brought up, and, you know, it's like, shit, John Legend had the courage to speak. I guess I gotta speak. So I gotta give him his props for being man enough to do that. But again, the question we all have to ask ourselves, me, you, all of us, why is that when we know something's wrong, just because of pattern or we're used to something or we enjoy, we're conveniently, you know, we look the other way, even with more fabric is involved. If a
Yeah.
dollar is involved, or
Right.
if it's just convenient.
Right.
And why does it take so much time for people to understand things? Because I've been, like I said, like, yo, I ain't really trying to have no beef with homie. You know, it wouldn't be right to take it there, but it's like, yo, he got to stay over there. You know, I can't
Stay
even,
on the other side.
you know, just from what I know.
Right.
Because whenever I would be around those dudes, he would be decent. He wasn't like a, you know, it was all right, but it's just I knew too much.
Yeah.
So I couldn't be around him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want no parts of that bread. All money ain't good money.
Hell no.
So it's like,
And then a lot of people, you know, like in a situation with like them being children, you know what I'm saying, young girls. It's crazy
well,
because
bottom
they
line
like,
is-
it's like, no, hold on, let me say this. Let me say this because my mother, my sister was in the modeling. But my mother would not allow them to take pictures. She wouldn't leave the room whenever she was taking pictures. She had to get a chair and sit there with her. And if it wasn't my mother, it was someone that she trusted to do the same.
bro, we got daughters, man.
Absolutely. So I'm saying, so on the strength of that, it's also parenting that has to be involved in protecting your children. You have to protect your child, period. You know what I'm saying? You have to do whatever it takes. A 15-year-old girl does not need to be in the studio late night with a 27-year-old man.
Bro, look,
Every single day.
Bottom line is all I could do is make sure it doesn't happen with mine.
Absolutely.
But other than that,
still,
I ain't gonna judge nobody.
now you can judge that. I disagree with you on that. You can judge that because let me say this: there are tons of women that out here have been molested.
Let me tell you why I'm not gonna judge nobody.
Molested? No. As far as molestation
Let me
and
just tell
protecting your child is everything.
You're right.
Hold
I'm
on,
not
let me
saying
finish.
you're
Let me finish. The child, protecting me as a parent to protect my child is everything. I will die for it. There is nothing no one can tell me when it comes to protecting my child or
500
teaching my child.
500%. But at the end of the day,
No amount of money. I don't give a damn
Listen
what
to me.
somebody of the fame of someone. Let me finish. The fame of anyone. These parents enabled R. Kelly and these people involved. Like for instance,
let me just say
these
this.
cousins and
I
these
gotta stop you right there.
bodyguards
Just do me a favor. Just
allowed
respect
this to happen. They saw it and turned the other way.
Let me say something, Kenyatta.
Yeah.
I love Aaliyah more than anything. She loves
Absolutely.
her parents more than anything. So
Absolutely.
Then one thing I'm not going to do is ever make her or her legacy or her parents feel uncomfortable. So it's some things that I just can't address. You
Okay.
understand what I'm saying? Just out of respect for her.
No, I got it.
So I got to
No,
leave it at that. So I don't even want to be a part of that.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
I can't, because at the end of the day, Aaliyah wouldn't want that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's all I care about. Whatever I feel personally, I got to put the people that I loved before that, and I know what she would love and what she would want. She wouldn't want that.
Right.
So even
Yeah.
if it's right or wrong, that's not for us to do
Well,
because of how I feel about her
okay,
family.
I respect that, but this is one thing I have to say. As parents, we have to protect our children.
That's true.
Period.
So
that's not against anyone. That's all of us.
So moving forward, instead
Yeah.
of dwelling on the past, let's dwell on the future. Never leave your daughter around a man.
Bingo. There you go. That's
Period.
what I'm saying.
Never leave your daughter around a man.
Absolutely.
And I got daughters
Yeah.
down to today. This couch here, which I designed,
Off the chain.
they were delivering it.
Fabric is crazy too, by the way. It's
Right.
yeah.
But look, they were delivering it, and there were
Oh.
men in the house. And Tallulah had to go to a play date.
Okay.
And I was like, she had just told me about the play date. Like, I
Right.
forgot to tell you, I got 11 o'clock. I'm like, well, we'll work it out. But there were men in the house.
So your instincts kicked
Let
in
me finish.
as a man.
And I wasn't going to leave R.Kelly alone. And I had to explain to her. I said, there's men in the house, and I would never leave you alone with men. I'm definitely not going to leave Raquel alone with any
100
men.
behind you.
And if you're ever with a man that does that, you need to leave him. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So what I've learned from all these things, and what I think people have to understand is sometimes, even in the Bible, Jesus sacrificed for what he considered all his children. So he went through pain so the people he loved wouldn't have to go through as much. So our pain that we go through is so that we know how to love. There is no recognition of love without the recognition of pain, because what can you compare it to? You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes you need these tragic things so the masses, some angel sometimes needs, not to say it's good and I wish it wasn't mine,
Yeah.
but sometimes there's some sacrifice so that the people you love moving forward can evolve and don't have to have the same struggle.
Because it's dope that people are speaking up.
Well,
you know,
the fact that
regardless.
this is happening will be inexcusable for anyone aware of it to ever leave their child alone.
Yeah.
But regardless of fame, singing, or anything.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna learn from that.
You gotta learn from it.
And that's the reason why I show people every day that the wealth is in the life you live with your children and how protected they are, and that they should never have the same problems as you, including the problem of choosing a parent.
Yeah.
Because I tend to try to rewind and think about the things that bothered me the most as a child. And what bothered me the most as a child was having to be choosing a parent, hearing my mom talk bad about my dad, hearing my dad talk back about my mom. If there was a Santa Claus and I could ask for anything, me, at that age, fuck a toy, fuck money,
For your parents.
I would have just wished that my parents could have got along. So we have to be conscious of any cycle and any pattern that we are accustomed to that we don't want our children to be accustomed to, including the things that bother us. So if you can't stand your other half, all that matters is how that affects your child. So you have to stand your other half.
That's the only thing
Despite
that matters.
what your other half is doing to you, man or woman, it's what makes your child happy. And if you had to feel some pain to know that you don't want your child to feel that same pain, then that means it was a blessing. Because your angel doesn't have to feel that. So I know everything I don't want my children to feel based on what I felt. So I'm glad I got to learn my way, and I can sustain that pain so that they will never have to. So sometimes you have to embrace that pain and understand it's a learning experience. And I'm not saying it justifies anything, and that person should be made an example of, whoever it is.
Because the main thing is, he's a pedophile.
Well, whoever it is. Whoever is disrespecting a child, an angel, a pure soul, they need to be stopped, and they need to be made an example of so people know exactly what the signs are, so that it doesn't happen again. See, what happens is because someone's singing good music, because someone's saying things that sound good, sometimes people tend to say, fuck what they're doing, I'm only gonna actually subscribe to what they're saying and give them a pass because of that. You know, you have to be able to, and the strength and the test is if you can break that pattern and be uncomfortable and do what everyone else is not doing to do what's right. You know what I'm saying? And you know, whatever happened to that individual that's made them hurt other people unconsciously or consciously, where they just don't even care, it must have been really dark, and that person must be in some pain. But it still doesn't excuse the collateral damage. They still got to get up out of here. So I do think it's time for us to take responsibility for empowering and looking the other way all those years. It should not have taken a documentary for people to get consciousness. And that's another thing that kind of...
Because anytime I talk to you about that situation, you were just... You just always... You turned dark. You turned dark every time I asked you about it. Because you didn't really want to... You didn't really ever want to go into it.
It's a situation that I don't want my ego to get in.
Way before the documentary. I know that for a fact. So...
Put it like this. I remember one time Rocky and I were sitting with a friend of ours, a girl. She was like, you heard the new R.Kelly record? And Rocky said, Dame, don't fuck with R.Kelly. And lightning struck the second she said it. And then there was like a person we called the Angel Whisperer, and they referenced that was a sign from Aaliyah, not knowing that had ever happened. It was crazy. So Aaliyah's strong, she's powerful, her energy is pure, and she's with me all the time. She protects me. I know that she was one of the people that put the detour on my fire. You know what I'm saying? Because when no one was looking, I treated her how she deserved to be treated.
And I saw that, and it's funny, I saw that last night in the movie. They kind of portrayed you as such.
Well, it wasn't nothing else but that. It wasn't no downtime time with her. We never had that dark moment other than when we had to separate for us to work. But yeah, something like that, it definitely stirs up a lot of emotion and memories.
Did you listen to the Best of Both Worlds? Did you listen to those albums? Back then, you didn't like...
I ain't fucking with it. Only thing I heard was...
It came on Rockefeller, you ain't even listen to it. That's how deep it was for you.
No, I haven't heard those records.
Damn.
I heard the record, the intro, because he referenced Aaliyah. But other than... Again, I think from that moment, everything changed because I knew morally we were going different directions. So
even at the concert, you wouldn't even try to go?
I never went to none of that shit.
Wow. Never knew that.
I mean, you did know it. I wasn't there. You would have known it. That project probably would have done well if I was a part of it, but I just couldn't, out of respect for her. But again, it was something where I was like, you know, I think Rockefeller might be over, because it doesn't represent the same thing for homie that it represented for me. You know, moral fabric and love means more than anything, and respect. And it just hurt me that he could still move forward knowing how much I cared about her, but he knew her. You know what I'm saying? And he knew, you know, morally how crazy that was. So I was just like, damn, it ain't really about the money with me. I'm not gonna say that was the main thing, but that was definitely one of the elements where Because you got to remember the energy Rockefeller had. You know, it was Kanye, Jay-Z, Cameron, Beanie Siegel, State Property, Dipset, you know, fucking MOP. We weren't struggling. We had movies, we had music, we had clothes. But you know, once that spirit that I was pushing wasn't there no more, once I walked away from the steering wheel, you know, history could speak. I ain't got to say nothing. It ain't really no more Rockefeller but the memory of it.
So basically that was like the real moment when you knew it was over, it was done.
It was just when I knew we was different.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Just not living by the same morals and standards on that level, as far as that goes, yeah. That makes sense.
I could say this, it broke my heart. It definitely broke my heart. You know, and I couldn't be a part of that. Well, you know, it is what it is. But that's just naturally how I feel in this moment. You know, and you asking me, that's how I'm expressing myself honestly. And you know, seeing that definitely brought back memories of the whole situation and a lot of things that happened and why they happened and how I was feeling in that moment, my expectation of people. Because I really expected people to be like, damn, I ain't got to say nothing. Everyone else going to say something. And nobody said nothing.
Because you understand the laws of karma too. You understand, like, you're
I understand it, but my thing is, my expectation was that other people understood it. But people look the other way. This is 10 years later, bro. This ain't yesterday. Why is it just now people getting conscious? I've been feeling this way. It's another example of a I told you so situation. But what does it take for people to really, it's like when it's popular, that's when people will jump on that bandwagon. I'm not saying that people are now, I mean they got consciousness. But definitely there's responsibility in everyone that still bought a record and still went to a concert after they knew what was going on. A documentary doesn't make it where you're like exempt. I mean, I know if people weren't conscious, cool, but now that you're conscious, what y'all gonna do now?
What you gonna do?
What y'all gonna do now?
And I found they were saying that the little girl, she wasn't 14, she was 12.
That's disgusting, man.
She was 12.
Like I said, I got daughters.
Like 14, yeah. But
I don't care how good the music is, I can't fuck with that.
Yeah. So from this point, do you plan on doing a story about, like a love story about you and Aaliyah? Do you plan on doing something about that?
Well, you know,
because you've been talking about,
there's some announcements. I'll just say this: there's some announcements that are going to be made on major platforms, and this is definitely our love will definitely go down in history the right way.
You gonna pick the actor?
I didn't even say what's going on. I said there's some vague announcements.
You're not gonna play yourself.
Well, I definitely have a role for you.
Oh.
Are you gonna ask?
Stop. No, I'm not. What type of role first?
An acting role.
Yeah.
About a character.
What character though? I'll say that. Come on, man. What character?
We don't want to tell everybody.
Yeah, not right now. Not right now. Yeah, not right now.
But you ready to act?
Absolutely. What's happening? It's the big homie Kenyatta. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube page. And if you haven't already, hit the notification so you can get an alert each and every time our hip hop motivation videos come up. And also, thank you for your support. Peace and blessings.
I know a queen named Amina, mad perseverance. Looking through the rear view of a negative experience. This woman had dreams, your vision was unique. She had to make a choice to truly fit the whole mistake. Peak.
So when you think, imagine I am a genie, you begin to imagine the great possibilities in your life, and then the universe begins to operate on your imagination and carrying you to places that way faster and further than you could go if you tried to get all the knowledge first. You see, a lot of times people will say, they'll put a delay tactic on themselves. They'll say, well, I don't really know anything about that. I really don't know how to do that, so I'm not going to do anything. But what if you sat and imagined that you did know? What if you imagined the possibility in your life, or what your life would be like if you were operating at a higher level? Your imagination then begins to activate a certain energy within you, a certain feeling. And that feeling then opens doors, and then you start getting the knowledge. So imagination, as Einstein indicated, is oftentimes greater than having knowledge.
If we could arrange our lives so that our thought process, when things happen to us, we did not curse the wind that brought the obstacle, but blessed the wind that brought the obstacle, realizing that that obstacle gave us another opportunity to perfect our character. If we believed that, if we understood that, then all things that came to us, that might be a problem, that might be a challenge, that might be something we don't want to go through, would only be a test as opposed to a problem. Problems are not bad. That's why we have to solve problems. And in the solving of the problem, you get closer to your destiny. So we have to start to change the way we think and the way we say what we say, because if we don't, then problems will hold us back, as opposed to being guideposts and signposts that we're on the right track.
The way I see it, it's always a test. Anything quick is a test. But my mindset tells me I can still get it quick and I don't have to cheat. But I have to cheat to get it fast? I don't really want it. I'd rather wait. I've learned over the years that with anything you have to be patient. Not 5 months patient, but 5 years or more patient. Now if you can get 10 years patient, you can build an even stronger foundation, and that creates legacy. Empires were not built overnight. I always tell people that the Great Wall of China was a 2,000-year-old plan. 2,000 years. Think about how many lifetimes that is on one plan, getting people to move similarly with the same exact agenda for lifetimes, for generations. That's crazy. You have to be patient when you want to do something significant, no matter what it is. And a lot of times that means not reaping the benefits of your goal immediately. And that's the test.
Listen, for mad years I walked around with my neck looking like a Nestle Crunch bar. I had to do something about it. What I found is that a razor bump is nothing but an ingrown hair that curls into the skin and causes the skin to become enlarged or inflamed, making it look like a bump. But it's not a pimple. It's a hair that grows into the skin, causing inflammation. You have to remove that hair, and then you have to use yourself a nice skin astringent, something that can do the trick, something that can get rid of those razor bumps. So what did I create? Bump Assassin, organic skin astringent. To order your own bottle of Bump Assassin, go to hiphopmotivation.bigcartel.com.
Dash thing. Now I don't want to chill out, bro. You know what I want to do? Believe in yourself. Build your own personal wealth. Then that becomes personal health. Think I'm rhyming. How about that?
Everything go down here. Just gotta, know what I mean, be a little smart.
I see you grooving right now, dude.
I was in my groove.
Yeah. I started daydreaming. I started thinking about something.
I'm a musician.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to spend all kinds of money. Like the dollar, like the euro, like the pound, like the franc pause, like the yen.